Wow, that might have been the best content we've ever gotten that won't go on the pod. Just saying.
Yeah, I need to start
That's
a burner.
dangerous.
I need to start a burner podcast like Deseret After Dark and just like start throwing haymakers and like morph my voice like let's see what happens. Like,
Deseret After Dark. That's amazing. And we welcome you to week 4 of Wilk and Wist, your weekly breakdown of Utah athletes in the National Football League. And we also like to highlight you, the fan. My name is Tanner Wilkinson, co-managing this podcast with none other than Cole Wissinger. I'm to that
I take
point in
care
the
of the day
office.
to day, and Tanner does some of the big picture stuff.
Big picture.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually to that point in my office rewatch right now. I'm watching it at work on my Meta Ray-Bans, and
Beautiful.
I have to tell you, these are a game changer. Fully endorse the Ray-Bans. You get random pictures of Jason Tatum, walking past him outside of MetLife. You can just hurry and snap the picture. They were great at
hmm
Disneyland, good on vacation, but when you need some quiet time at work, you can just throw something on and yeah, just watch the murder episode today, which is
There's been a
I
murder.
think I have that top 15. I need to go reevaluate my rankings because it's been a few years, but that is a great episode of The Office. Well, Cole, let's start things off with our rundown. A lot of Buffalo. There was a lot of Utah representation in the Bills-Dolphins game. Dalton Kincaid, one of the best games of his career, 5 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. But he wasn't the only tight end that got involved.
Jackson Hawes, 1 reception for 5 yards and a touchdown. Two Utah guys.
A little flip forward from Josh Allen on that one.
hmm
Taron Johnson was back. He did not play the week before, was very, very felt by the Miami offense. 8 tackles, a TFL, and 1 pass breakup for Taron Johnson.
And then Cole Bishop, also on the defense, had 5 tackles. So Buffalo, it wasn't the dominating performance that we maybe thought going into Thursday night, but they get the win at
Yeah.
the end of the day, and it's full of Utah guys.
Upset of the week, without any question. A lot of survivor picks but burst as the Packers fall to the Browns, giving up 13 points in the last 7 minutes of the game, if I remember
hmm
right. Jordan Love, 18 of 25, 183 yards, did throw an early touchdown, but then threw a costly interception for the Packers that really, really hurt them. And granted, the Browns defense is very, very good. I
Yeah.
don't think
And if
anyone's
you just
questioning
read
that.
me that stat line on Sunday morning before I made a pick, I still would have thought that the Packers would win. And yet it just didn't go that way. On the other side, Zane Anderson had 2 tackles.
Cincinnati, that was a disaster. Should not have made that pick. Ryan Rico was very involved when Cincinnati wasn't turning the ball over. He had 6 punts for 328 net yards, had one inside the 20, a long of 70. That was kind of why I included him on the list.
Yeah.
Like usually when you have to punt that much, that's not a good thing, and only one in the 20 out of six, but he had a 70-yard punt.
But for how many times that the Vikings were taking it away, I'm surprised that he got to 6 punts on the
Yeah,
day. That was a
that was bad.
mess of a game. You know what I'm not surprised by?
Mm,
A Puka Nakua 11
mm.
reception, 112-yard stat line.
Man, it's just automatic at this point that he's
Yeah.
going to have this kind of a game. It's crazy. Uh, Tough loss for the Rams too. That was a tough way to go out against the defending champs. Washington, Bobby Wagner, 11 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits was everywhere for this Washington defense. To no surprise.
Yeah, it's the moving lateral thing, right? Bobby Wagner, not quite the Bobby Wagner that we saw very early on in his career, but he still brings such a presence, and the Commanders need that captain of this defense, and it's working out. Matt Gay, the kicker for Washington, 2 out of 3, had a 56-yard field goal, and then also kicked 5 extra points because Washington was racking up the points.
Yeah, we'll continue to talk about that. Atlanta did not look good offensive. They were okay defensively, but played so bad on offense that it just didn't matter by the end. Caden Ellis did have 9 tackles, a sack, and 3 tackles for loss for Atlanta.
Won't be the last time that we bring up an Ellis, but before we get to the other Ellis brother, Devin Lloyd and this Jacksonville linebacking core looking very good, and they got a win against Houston. Devin Lloyd had 6 tackles, a sack, and a fumble recovery.
Yeah, Devin looked really good, and there were a lot of turnovers in that game, so was not surprised he was involved in that. Denver loses a close one, but a good game from Jonah Ellis. 4 tackles, had a sack, and a pass breakup for an edge rusher. Love to see that pass deflection there.
Yeah, Jonelle, that was a nice highlight reel thing for him. Noah Sewell had double-digit tackles in the Bears' victory over the Dallas Cowboys. 11 tackles for Noah.
Fred Warner, Niners get past the Cardinals, and what was probably a good thing I was on a Frontier flight. Didn't I was going to pay for the Wi-Fi if they had it. They did not have it, and it's probably a good thing. But Fred has 11 tackles and two pass breakups for the Niners, did doing more Fred things.
And then on Monday Night Football, Penei Sewell is part of a Lions win where this looks like the Lions. The week
Yeah,
one is so in the rearview mirror right now. The Ben Johnson and everyone leaving in the offseason doesn't look like it matters. Dan Campbell's still here. The Lions are still this new version of the Lions that the Lions being the Lions at one point meant a very different thing, but Penei Sewell and solidifying this offensive line, the interior was maybe a little bit of a problem we thought at the beginning of the season, but the tackles, not a problem. And Penei
no,
is a big reason for that. So 38 points put up by the offense, 0 sacks allowed, of course, by our man.
yeah, was a good thing there. I'm torn, Cole, between Bobby and Penne. That's kind of who it's down to for me. It's going to be
See,
one of those two guys.
I think that I thought that the leader was going to be Dalton Kincaid after Thursday night, and I'm still going a little bit there to get him really involved for the first time. We've been waiting for the Dalton Kincaid breakout, and just the way the tight ends were involved, it also becomes kind of a group effort where it's one and a half MVPs. It's Dalton Kincaid and a little bit of Jackson Hawes. The fact that they were the two guys that got in the end zone, that was a little bit my pick. But I mean, you said the names that we're already talking about.
Sure. I think I might go Bobby because they were missing their quarterback. While the win over Baltimore is bigger for Detroit,
Hmm.
I think it maybe meant a little more that Bobby Wagner. Well, and to be fair, Bobby Wagner probably didn't need to have that good of a defensive game because Marcus Mariota surprised everyone. But I'm going to go with Bobby this week.
And that makes for a great segue
It
because this
does.
is we're going to talk a little bit of Washington Commanders football today.
Let's do it. Like to welcome our guest for this week. He's a regular on the show.
We have
Uh,
regulars now.
we
3 years
have
into it, this is
yeah.
where we're at.
By year three, you should have regulars. Usually by month three, when you're working retail, you should know who your regulars are. You and I can
Mm,
relate to that from the Pro Image days, Cole. But and that usually wasn't a good thing, if we're being completely honest.
no,
This is a good thing on Wilk and Wiss. He's a writer for the Deseret News. Our good friend Jackson Payne, Commander fan in full, fresh off of a Commander win that he attended. So did you go, Jackson? Let's just jump into this. Did you go? Right. Did you go cover BYU on Saturday and then head up to DC for Sunday?
I did, yeah. So I had probably, well, first off, it's great to be back. I think this is either round 4 or 5 on your show, and it's just I love talking ball with you guys. So this is
heck
always
yeah.
it's always fun when I check my Twitter DMs and Tanner's hit me up to be on. It's always a pleasure. But yeah. So this past weekend I had like the greatest sports weekend of all time. So I flew in to DC, met my dad there. We went to the Orioles Yankees game Friday night. Orioles beat the Yankees. I mean, Orioles suck this year, but like anytime you beat the Yankees
Beat
is
the
awesome.
Yankees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, beat the Yankees. Their ace shoved. I mean, it was incredible. Struck out Aaron Judge twice. I was in heaven. We were sitting right behind home plate. We did the bit where
Oh,
you buy like cheap tickets and then just sit until you're moved like somewhere else. And we sat like right behind home plate and just never got moved. And so it was like you roll the dice and you win big. So that was Friday. So then we drove down to East Carolina Saturday. We picked up my uncle in Richmond, Virginia, because he's a big BYU fan. So my dad and uncle went to the game. I covered the game. We did all the Greenville sights and sounds. Went to the famous bar on campus, Sup Dogs, which was awesome. Got some burgers and some dogs.
That's when you go to a new campus, when you go to a new state, we got to hear the eats. We got to hear the food
Oh
for
yeah.
it. So
Well, so Sup Dogs is interesting. It's like the number one college bar in the country. It won like the Barstool Sports like big bracket thing they did
right
for
on.
best, and it's like famous around the country. But the guy who runs it, he used to be the producer of like the morning sports radio show in DC that I like grew up listening to. So I mean, I'd never met the guy, but like I'd had this connection with him from all these years.
sure.
But his dad was my dad and uncle's high school basketball coach. And so he's there with his son now, kind of running the thing at the restaurant. And so we got to hang out with them, have a nice meal, and then go to the game. BYU thumps East Carolina, awesome game. Bear Bachmeyer kind of growing up right before our eyes. So good to cover that game. And then I get back to my hotel at like 1 a.m. And then we got to drive up all the way back up to Landover, Maryland, 2 states away for BYU. I mean not BYU, Commanders Raiders. So we're running on like no sleep, just chomping down on like I have this like military strength caffeine gum. You chew it for like 5 minutes and it's like 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's probably illegal, but like I'm just like chomping at this gum, like getting wired. No Jaden Daniels, no problem. Marcus Mariota led the 41-point win. It was awesome. I mean, just like FedEx Field is a dump. I guess it's called Northwest Stadium now. Terrible stadium, but they're going back to RFK in DC. Um, I mean, I was worried because the Raiders, like, I mean, that's kind of I thought they would be a lot more troublesome to deal with. I mean, a Pete Carroll
Yeah.
team is always interesting. Geno's a good quarterback. Genty just waiting to break out. Bowers is the best tight end of the league, and the Skins just like clobbered them, dude, with a backup quarterback. It was so fun to be at that game. And then my dad and I found pictures of us online, like in the crowd celebrating, like holding each other, just like, and that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. But so I am now 3-1 in Redskins slash Commanders games I've been to in my life, which considering how bad they've been in my lifetime, to be 3-1 when I go is like kind of sweet. But hopefully Jaden comes back soon. But if he doesn't, like Marcus Mariota's the man, dude. Like I think he's played 18 drives with the Skins over the last 2 years, and I think they've scored on 13 of them, and they've punted like once. So like,
Nice.
so you got to ask yourself, like maybe Jaden Daniels is holding Washington back, like maybe Mariota, you just got to let the guy cook. He's a Heisman for a reason. But no, it was an awesome trip. Got 3 wins. Uh, no sleep, but 3 wins, and I'll take that trade 7 days of the week. It was good to be with my dad and to explore up and down our old stomping grounds on the East Coast. But yeah, the Commanders win was definitely the highlight, just because I mean those are my boys, and just love when they win, and being there in person was awesome atmosphere, awesome energy. Just very very happy to be there.
You mentioned the new stadium in construction. What's the skinny from someone that's actually been there more? Because I've like driven through DC a
Yeah.
couple times, as you do when you're an East Coast person, but like you're a little bit more ingrained in it. I've heard pushback. I've heard like, where are we putting this stadium? Because it's on the site of old RFK, right?
Yeah. You're
And
a
that's
Wizard
in
fan. Give
DC.
yourself give yourself more credit. You got some DC
Thank you.
street
Thank you.
cred. You
I,
you
I have been to Wizards games in
hashtag for
Washington.
the district.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's going to be, they just finally passed the last vote. So there's no more hurdles. Like it's 100% done deal happening now. The city council passed it. So it's going to be on the site of RFK Stadium. And so we actually, on our way to the Orioles game, we drove past RFK to watch it being taken down, because
Oh, yeah.
that was my dad's childhood, going to Redskin games at RFK. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen like old videos, like the stadium literally is like shaking. Like that place was a freaking like riot. And then I was too young to go to Redskin games there, but I went to a bunch of Nationals games because that's where they played before they moved to their new stadium.
Yeah.
It was kind of it was a dump. Like it was old and hadn't been taken care of very well, but it was like there's so much character to it. Like as far as like a cookie cutter, like just the round stadium goes, it was the first one of those, so it had a little more character than like say like a one in like Pittsburgh or Philly, or you know what I mean. And
Right.
so yeah, they're gonna put it. That it was weird seeing them take it all down, but they're gonna put the new stadium right there. The federal government owned the land, and so they had to do like a land transfer to the team, and it had to jump through all these hoops. Like it had to go through Congress and the Senate. Mike Lee, actually from Utah, tried to get in the way and like stop it from happening, which is actually really interesting because he's from Northern Virginia. He went to my rival high school. He was in my dad's ward growing up, and so it's like, I mean, you grew up during the glory days of the Redskins, Mike. Like, I mean, not to get political, but like, what are we doing here? Like,
You're not the
take
first
us
person to
back to
say
our.
that about Mike Lee in the last year. I think like again, not to get
Everyone has a
political,
bone to pick with Mike Lee
they
somehow.
do. It does
Mine
not
happens
matter.
to be just football. Like,
It does not matter where you stand in anything. No one likes Mike Lee anymore. And I think it's kind of refreshing in today's day and age, if you ask me. That might be
I
the
think,
most
Aw,
uniting
we
thing
can
we've
all
seen in
hate someone
Utah.
together.
I think
Yeah.
for me personally, I think it's a great bit to not like Mike Lee, but have nothing to do with politics. And it's literally just because he voted against the Commanders going back to DC. But no, like literally, like the everything happening the way it did was such a miracle, and so they're gonna build like the coolest stadium ever there. I can't wait to go there. I imagine at some point too, like I'm obviously excited to like host Super Bowls and Final Fours and Commander games, obviously, but like at some point you'd assume like BYU being one of the top Big 12 brands, they're gonna get invited to play in one of those like kickoff classic type like specialty games where they'll play like Maryland or Penn
West
State or
West
Virginia Tech,
Virginia,
West
like
Virginia,
even
yeah.
in conference, yeah.
Oh yeah, like they could play in that stadium and have like a college game, and I think that'd be for me to cover a game there. in like my team's new stadium on like the spiritual home of the franchise would be really cool. But I'm stoked, man. Like, Dan Snyder tried for 15 years at the end of his reign to get a new stadium, and nobody would do business with him. And literally within 2 years of the new ownership, they got RFK, which was told it was to be impossible because of the government. I mean, you know how government stuff works. Like, not to
It
get
doesn't.
political again, like Mike Lee, but so it was just like the perfect thing. Like they had a video during the game on Sunday where it was like the hype video, like we're going back to RFK, and they put the owner on the screen and we're giving him a standing ovation, and it was sick. But also like it was just like the best game to go to. Like they blew out the Raiders. There was no doubt in that game. Got to see a 90-yard punt return touchdown, a 60-yard touchdown run. Marcus Mariota was dealing. They were running all over. Terry McLaurin had a big catch. It was like the perfect game to go to. And I was just like, like I was walking through the Salt Lake airport on my way home, doing that long walk from the B gates, like a poor person all the way to the front. And it was like the most satisfied feeling I think I've ever had, where I was like, that was the best trip ever. Like, got to see the perfect Skins game. BYU won with no question. There was no like F the Mormons shenanigans during the game. Because when that happens, that's a headache for me because I have to cover that. And with how little sleep I was getting trying to get to that Commander game, like that was not going to work out well. And the Orioles won. It was just like, I just had
It's
this
easier to
feeling of
write
like,
about sports at
it's
the end of
easier
the
to write
day.
about
Yeah.
sports and not just dumb fans. And so like I was just the level of satisfaction I felt is something I've never experienced before. And it was I would highly recommend going to a awesome sports weekend where all three of your teams get wins. So can't complain. Life is good.
So I was also at ECU. My parents live about an hour and a
Oh
half
wow.
from Greenville. So it was kind of, this was one we'd had planned for years. Oh,
Yeah.
the plant, my parents have been out there for 5.5, 6 years now, over 6 years now. And I was not impressed with the stadium where we were at. No cell service. Did you guys, I get you were probably on Wi-Fi up in the
I had
press
Wi-Fi in the press
box.
box. Yeah.
Zero, like I've never had zero cell service in this day and age at a football game before, which I
Yeah.
thought was weird. The benches we were on, so we had four seats, my parents and then me and my wife, and the benches like didn't connect all the way, so there was just a weird gap, and one
Little
of us ended
chastity
up on
gap.
the edge. Yeah, for real though, like
Sorry,
it
that's
was
the
kind of
promo
weird.
in me coming out. Sorry.
It's got to sometimes.
And on the way in, the students were awful to us. Like,
Really?
but then every time a student would say something mean, like an older, alum or, someone would just be like, "We're so sorry about them.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to our town. We hope you guys
Yeah.
feel, so it was really kind of funny, like to see like, oh, these people probably underage that are intoxicated. And that's all it was. My
That's
mom, my mom was getting a little ready to put her dukes up a little bit, and
oh goodness.
we were, but then every time someone would come in and just be like, we're so sorry. Like just it was reminiscent of like having to explain like Michael Scott to someone who doesn't know Michael Scott, right? Like it just like I am so sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
Great analogy. I
we
was really I thought I mean the stadium wasn't anything like special, obviously. Like the press box was nicer and newer. They just like redone it. But
yeah,
like I was students are going to be kind of weird wherever you go. The only
right.
game I've been to where the students were like perfectly nice was Liberty, but I think it was because when they beat BYU, they held BYU as like in such high regard. Like if we can beat BYU, like that's kind of our statement to the world, like we matter. And so I think because of the respect they had, like they were making jokes about like coffee and wives and stuff, but it wasn't like there was nothing like malignant about it, right? But I was like super impressed by, like you said, like the older fans, like they're doing the
Yeah.
BYU where they come up and walk up to you and shake your hand. They're like, "Thank you so much for coming." And I wasn't wearing BYU gear, obviously covering the game. I'm wearing a Deseret News polo, and I'm assuming not a ton of people in North Carolina know about the Deseret News unless they've
Right.
been reading some of the crazy stuff happening in Utah lately. But I guess they could just look at me and figured I was from Utah, and so they were coming up like, "Oh, thanks for making the trip," and I'm like, "Yeah," but I went to the last ECU game when BYU played there in 2017 as a fan. I was a senior in high school, and kind of a depressing like that BYU fell to 1-6 or 1-7 with that loss, like just the worst season ever, terrible game. And so to go back now, having graduated from BYU, being a professional sports writer, and also BYU being in the Big 12, and that win kind of being there. Oh, like Bear Bachmeier isn't going to limit this team. Like they could very well still be in the Big 12 title race with this guy at quarterback because their defense is so good and they can run the ball so well. It was kind of a cool like reflection moment. I was like, dang, like life's been good, man. I'm just like it's the Dwight Schrute Perfectenschlag. Like I'm feeling it right now. I'm just my Thanksgiving period is coming early, but
It's interesting.
we can get rid of the wholesome stuff now and dive into the grittiness of the NFL, right?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because Cole and I watched that game together as Greg Wrubell interns in the studio with Jason Shepard
Yep.
that year, and that was a very low point because up to that point they had played such a difficult schedule. You're like, okay,
Yes.
clearly BYU's not good, could still make a bowl game, should beat some of these,
Yeah.
group of five teams now that the schedule lightens up, and the fact that it didn't have that was a sombering night across
And
the
that
board, I think, for BYU fans.
and I feel like that game has kind of people forgot how brutal that loss was because the UMass loss came later.
Yep.
Like the UMass
UMass is
loss,
the one that
Way
I
worse,
remember
without
yeah, like
vividly.
question.
so much like you when they lost to ECU, I remember thinking like it can't get worse than this. And then the UMass loss, like, has there like obviously Michigan lost to like App State and like there have been losses like that, but in terms of just like straight up brutality and like awfulness, like that UMass at BYU loss is so terrible. Like there is like that's just the worst day ever.
One of my best friends got married in Vegas that day, and I was forever grateful that I got pulled away from
Best
all of
fall
that.
wedding of your
That
life.
it's the only fall
Smash
wedding I think I've ever
UMass,
been happy about.
smash UMass money line that day.
Yeah.
Made some crazy dough on that.
So getting back to the depth of the NFL, Jackson Dart, that news broke this morning. We're recording this on a Wednesday that he is going to take over for Russell Wilson. I thought this came a few weeks earlier, but then see, I was flying back to Utah and missed the Chiefs Giants game. And after seeing that first and goal from the four, I'm like, oh no, this is the sole reason why Jackson Dart is probably starting this week. Where he is a Utah connection guy, obviously with the Corner Canyon and Roy High
And with the name
connections.
Jackson, of course, just
Oh,
the wrong
of
spelling.
course, he's in
Yeah,
your
very
division.
wrong
It
spelling.
it is a brutal schedule from him here on out. They've already played that awful Cowboy defense once. That's probably when you should have started him, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what Giant fans can expect with Jackson Dart, especially given the difficult of the schedule?
Yeah, I think for me, it always comes back to like the NFL is a self-preservation league, and this feels like Brian Dable's way of saying you got to keep me on. Like I have this project I'm working on, right? Like if Jackson Dart is like his last lifeboat, and so if Dart plays well and kind of they're less embarrassing than they've been with Russ. I mean, it's hard to be more embarrassing than Russell Wilson. Let's be real. Like just from all of us from the bottom of our hearts, screw that guy.
Aaron
So
Rodgers is the 35th PFF graded quarterback right now this year for the Steelers, and at least it's not as embarrassing as Russell Wilson.
yeah, I mean, at least like the Steelers look like a competent franchise,
Yeah.
and they have that cachet where like Mike Tomlin's going to get 9 wins every year like he does. But
Right.
the Giants are just, I mean, as a division rival, I love that the Giants are kind of the laughing stock of the league that we were for so long. But yeah, I think this is Dable's last chance to kind of keep his job. And so if they bounce back from Jackson, if Jackson Dart adds anything to their offense, any sort of juice, anything to kind of like give you hope or give you optimism going forward, I think that should be considered a win because they're terrible. Like their line is bad, their O line is bad. They don't really have any skill players. Russ couldn't even get to Neighbors. I mean, that's the one guy they have that's like a fringe top 10 guy potentially in the NFL, and he can't even find him. And so if he can get that, if he can get Neighbors cooking, that helps them a lot. And then Wandale Robinson has been solid too. Like they have guys that can like make things happen, and I think that's what you want to see from Dart. Like, and also like obviously I would have wanted Dart to sit longer. I think rookies sitting
Mhm.
helps a lot. And that was my thing with Dart. Like I really liked Dart out of high school. I liked him at USC. I liked him at Ole Miss. Like I've always been rooting for that guy. A little less now that he's a Giant, but we gotta stick to our Utah Mormon boys, right? We gotta stick together. So it's a tough life out there. And so I feel like at the same time, like, yeah, like he's probably gonna get the crazy baptism by fire right now, but hopefully that gets him ready for next year if he wants to just be the franchise. Him and Abdul Carter and those guys can just kind of you can build your franchise around him and maybe build around him through the draft. And obviously, like this year is kind of just a wash. Like they're not going to be anything. You're going to lose to Washington again, so just that's all that matters for me. But
Yeah.
if as long as you can get a spark and kind of have some reason to be optimistic, and then be ready for next year. Like I think what the Jets did to Zach Wilson was so terrible, kind of putting the whole team on his shoulders from day one and not really having any competition in camp. that set him up to fail from week one. And I feel like this is different other side of New York with the Giants where he had training camp, he has Russ and Jameis in the room with him. Like there's been competition. It's still earlier than you would have thought about, but like it's not like he has to save the franchise. Like they're not going to the playoffs. This is literally just a kneel out the clock type year. Just try to build and get better each week, and then maybe next year you can really start cooking from as a sophomore. So I'm excited, honestly. Like I love Jackson Dart's game. The Giants haven't been fun to watch ever. I mean, is there when was that like maybe the end of Manning's career when OBJ was kind of exciting and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like they haven't been fun to watch and I feel like when you have an intriguing rookie quarterback that automatically makes you fun to watch. Like I mean the Titans have been miserable this year and Cam Ward hasn't played great, but I enjoy watching those games because it's fun to watch a rookie kind of get his sea legs and so I'm excited to watch the Giants and hopefully Dart I mean, I think they host the Chargers this week, who are looking like the best team in the NFL, not named the Philadelphia Eagles, and so I'm interested to see what he does against Harbaugh and company, but it's gonna be fun. I'm rooting for Jackson Dart, but not for the Giants. I hope he plays awesome and they lose every game, especially to Washington.
See, yeah, that would be nice for a Washington fan, but unfortunately, if that happens, then Daboll's out, and he's dealing with a new play caller and this whole administration that apparently, if they're going to start him this early, it's a little bit desperation. But the way they talked him up in the offseason has been, this is our guy, just blowing things away, and like we believe in all this talent and all the things that he can do. Not everyone was as sold as the Giants were in Jackson Dart being a first round prospect. And so if Daboll's out at the end of this year, the next guy you bring in, you got to hire the guy that either believes in Dart or he might not have a second season to go for.
It's what's always interesting when you see these, coaches make these desperation moves at the end. Like Deshaun Kaiser is one that I think of, right? The Browns like
Oof.
go out to get this guy who they believe, and that was just so bad. That wasn't under Hugh Jackson, was it?
I think it was because I think his first year was 2017 because that was their 0 for year,
Yep.
and Hugh got fired,
Yeah.
and then they drafted Baker and kind of righted the ship.
Yeah.
Because it was just 1 year of Deshaun Kaiser, and they had just had like 2017 was a strong draft in general for the Browns. They got Myles Garrett and I think Denzel Ward that year. Um, and so things were looking up, and then you just you trade back and you get extra capital for the next year, and then they just take
Oh,
Deshaun Kaiser in the second.
man.
Also, for the record, they wanted Deshaun Watson in that draft, and they couldn't quite get him. But
Oh boy.
now they
Oof.
got him. Go Browns!
Collective
No one should ever say go Browns.
collective groan. Collective groan. That's become my favorite thing watching The Office this time through when they all just like everyone just
The
kind of
subtitle collective growth.
it's
That's
the best
incredible.
subtitle in sitcom is just collective
Speaking
groan.
speaking of not to sidebar and kind of ruin your podcast, but what have you thought about the paper?
10 out of 10.
Really?
Loved it. They do just enough. Cole asked me this actually a
Yeah,
couple days ago, and I sent him not a full like paragraph, but a well
think
thought out
piece.
text.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Subscribe to the Tanner Substack about
Yeah.
like
what sitcoms are up
I
to.
would already put it in my top 10 sitcoms,
Wow.
which that's how much I enjoyed it, and that's how
There you
good
go.
I thought the first season was. And keep in mind, I was so skeptical of this. I did
Yes.
not want an Office sequel. I did not want a spin-off. I did not want anything to continue with the story, and they nailed it. I mean,
Yeah.
just nail. I mean, it's got enough callbacks that it's, fun, and you think, oh, hey, that's great.
Yes.
But it's also original enough, and there's enough clever humor in it. It almost gave me more Arrested Development Community type feels in terms
Mhm.
of the cleverness of how some of the jokes were written and how they were delivered.
Yeah.
But it still, it they Greg Daniels is a freaking genius. I'll
Oh my
I'll leave it at
gosh.
that. Like,
Does anybody have a better resume than Greg Daniels? Maybe you could throw like Chuck Lorre up there, but like his shows always suck, but they get ratings. It's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like Greg Daniels is just the legend. I thought it
Mike
was
Schur's up
organic.
there too.
Mike Schur as well. Yeah, those are kind of my Mount Rushmore guys. I liked how organic it was, kind of connecting to the original show, like with the Innervate thing, and it kind of gives me more Parks and Rec vibes, which isn't a bad thing. Like I
Yeah,
think they had to make it familiar enough that like people like us who love The Office would get it, but also differentiate to where it can stand on its own legs. And I mean, yeah, I gave it like an 8 out of 10. I loved it too.
yeah,
I'm excited to see where they build from there. But like
yeah.
Jackson Dart, got to see where Jackson Dart builds from there. All
What a
comes full
connection.
circle.
What a professional making the segues.
Speaking of segues, let's make some picks. Jacob Habel went 10-6 week
He
one.
did.
We did not have a guest last week. Uh, Cole, what did you and I do a week ago? I don't think I
And
had quite as good a week as I had 2 weeks ago or a week
not
ago.
fantastic. So Tanner, you
Yeah.
went 7-9. I went
Oof.
9-7, but there were some coin flip games there at the end with like more blocked kicks than I've seen in my NFL watching
Four
life, just
walk-off
all at the
field
same time.
goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird because I was at the game like we talked about, so I watched like zero other NFL that whole day. I didn't watch any other games because literally I went home to my hotel and slept because of all
Yeah.
the driving and
Yeah.
no sleep we had. And that was like the craziest day to miss because all the block kicks, all the shenanigans. Like I was happy with my choice of going to the game, but still it was like, oh man, it would have been cool to watch the Browns beat the Packers because hate the Packers, right? Like it was
I
anyway.
I was at my parents' ward in They have, by the way, 130 church on the East Coast should be illegal.
Oh
Oh my
my gosh,
gosh, it was
terrible.
not good.
130, not even
Yes.
one. Oh,
Well, it's because they go to such a small building that there's three wards, so they can't overlap at all because it's so small. Anyway, East Coast church problems. I'm sure we could do a
Mm.
whole
oh
other show about that just
yeah,
from my,
yeah.
and they've only been in this ward for a couple months, and my dad's already like, I told him he needed to get the meta glasses like me so you can just watch Red Zone. And Brother Hanson teaches a mean Sunday school class.
Oh,
I'll leave it at that.
he looks like a home teacher.
It would not surprise me if he's the guy showing up with the brownies, right? But no, so I feel like I have not gotten a good because I was at Jets Bills 2 weeks ago where we were in New York. So yeah, I feel like I have not gotten a good grasp of watching much. My flight took off during the fourth quarter of all those late games. So anyway, yeah, I feel like I've been a little bit behind on that front. But yeah, let's
It
get
was
to some
it was
picks.
maybe the best twitching hour of my life.
I it,
Oh,
I
and,
enjoyed it.
to be fair, I had it on my phone while we were driving back to my parents' house after
Yeah.
church.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then yeah, the next witching hour, both witching hours were great. Like just and my brother was at that Browns game, by the way, drove 8 hours from Raleigh to Cleveland just to watch the Packers lose
is he a
to the
Packers
Mm.
Browns.
fan?
Like he's
Mhm.
going to four other games
Oh
this year.
man,
Had a giant sign that said "Thank you, Jerry" that got on the Browns social media accidentally. Like
that's cool.
it, it, yeah, he was. I did feel a little bad. I love a good upset in the NFL, but when you had some skin in the game,
Yeah,
I did feel slightly bad.
That
But
it,
that
it
one
sucks.
felt so safe. Survivor pools
that
around
was my
America
Oh
survivor
just
man,
pool pick
collapsed.
too.
oh
Yeah,
yikes.
I'm like, there's like Green Bay's got such a tough schedule. This is the perfect game to pick for them.
People forget the Browns defense is really good.
Yep.
Like
Well,
people
because it
always
wasn't
want to,
last year. It figured it out this year.
yeah, like it's just defense is the hardest thing to pick against in the NFL, and that's as we kind of go into these games. The Seahawk Cardinal game, I know you have some skin in the game for that, Tanner, but like that game is so hard to pick because both teams are so good defensively, and you just don't know. I mean, I want to lean Seahawks because like I don't know, just like it's crazy.
All right, let's get to some picks. Thursday night football, NFC West showdown, two and one teams. The Seahawks in Arizona. My hands are up in the air as to what this Cardinal offense is. Marvin Harrison's dropping passes, and when he's not, Kyler Murray doesn't know he exists, which is frustrating. I'm going to take Arizona. I think their defense is a little bit better than Seattle's at this point in the season, and that's where I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
The thing I can't get over is that every time the Cardinals get into the fourth quarter, they forget how to play a normal defense and they go into this weird, funky prevent. Like, even the game against Carolina, they dominate them, but the end of the game, they let them get some garbage time stuff happening. And then in San Francisco, when it is still a close game, you just give up that game. So I'm going to take Seattle. This was close, and I had written down Arizona originally, but I'm switching to Seattle because I trust Seattle's defense more when it counts.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Seattle as well. I just don't. You can't bet on Kyler Murray. That's one of the rules I live by, and I mean this as no disrespect to Tanner. I know he's a Cardinals fan, and like I don't. I'm not trying to like throw haymakers here, but like I just when are they gonna stop wandering in the wilderness of obscurity? Like just this is not the time. Like Kyler Murray's not the guy. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. If his name was Craig Smith, I don't know why I just used Craig Smith as the as the
There's a
fake
Craig
name.
Smith out there that
I'm
just got a
sitting.
shout out from Jackson.
Well, I'm sitting at the University of Utah Institute building right now because my wife's at class, and so I must be just the Craig Smith history here must be getting in my brain. But anyway, I just I don't get it. I don't understand the Cardinals, and I trust Seattle more. So
I texted this to a group chat that Cole's in and got no response and was a little hurt by this. Do you think Jerry's dumb enough to trade Dak for Kyler?
Oh my
Because I
gosh.
would do that in a heartbeat.
uh,
Dak would solve so many of our problems, like just
I
having a
don't
guy to
think.
see over
Well,
the line.
I'm biased here. Yeah, seeing over you know what? If that's your biggest problem, then Dak is going to help you. I don't think Dak's very good. I'm biased, obviously. I think he's an empty calorie quarterback, but at the same time, if you can't see over your line and you get a guy that can, you know what?
Like
What
that's
the
the
heck? Yeah,
baseline for me right
he's
now. I just want a guy who can
yes.
see.
Hey, Keaton Slovis on the practice squad.
Sim for Slovis. Here
I
we
am a
go.
simp for Slovis till I
Yeah.
die. That's cool that he's back though. I need to text him and congratulate him just because he grew up like a huge Cardinal fan. He and Kurt Warner were close until he got fired as his coach. But just it's got to be so cool to go back home and be the quarterback of many quarterbacks, obviously, but play
I
for
would I would almost take Jacoby Brissett at this. Like I don't think Kyler's played bad enough to bench him, but you
yeah,
just know what he is like,
dude.
and
Brissett,
everyone else does.
people sleep on Jacoby Brissett. He's a solid quarterback. He makes the right reads. He gets the ball out quick. Like
I was glad
that's half the battle in the NFL.
I was glad that they brought him in as the backup because Clayton Tune was terrible, and they just that was a decent move to bring
Yeah,
Brissett in. So
See, the
anyway,
100%.
Jacoby thing is that Jacoby could get you a normal roster playing, functional offense and get you to an 8-9 season, which is seems like just where the Cardinals are going to end up anyway, even with Kyler. So what are we doing? Yeah, I'm with you. They're just kind of in the wilderness. Early morning Sunday night
mm,
football. We got in Dublin, Ireland, Minnesota versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Vikings coming off that insane defensive performance against Jake Browning. Aaron Rodgers, even at 41 years old, is not Jake Browning, and I'm going to take the Steelers.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well. I think weird things happen when you travel. Minnesota's got kind of the good momentum and vibes right now, but having to travel and then stay. Uh, Maybe I'll take Minnesota next week, but for this week, I'm also going Pittsburgh.
I will be joining you too as a Pittsburgh believer this weekend for two reasons. One, I hate Carson Wentz. He's hurt me. I can't pick Carson Wentz. I can't root for Carson Wentz. We're not going down that path. But then also people forget like Rodgers wanted to play for the Vikings. He wanted to do the full Favre cosplay and go to Minnesota and they said, "No, we're good with McCarthy." And McCarthy is now benched. I mean, I think you saw it week one, like Rodgers was so fired up to play the Jets and beat them. And so I think he's going to have a similar mindset going against the Vikings and just absolutely shred them. I like Aaron Rodgers right now on the Steelers. I thought it was a weird fit at first. I didn't think it was going to work out, and I think it's been okay. And so I think they get to 3-1 against Minnesota in Ireland.
It still is a very weird fit with the
It will
offense,
always
and
be a weird fit, but at
it
least
is not
it's not embarrassing yet, Like
exactly. And the thing that we've been talking about with Aaron Rodgers since 2020 is if you can get a little bit of buy-in from him, you can get one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen in NFL history. And so, against the Jets, against the Vikings, maybe we get that.
Funny enough, we did my team, we did Cold team, let's do Jackson's team. The Commanders head to Atlanta. Not sure if it's going to be Do we know at this point if it's Daniels or Mariota? No
we
decision. I don't think it's
don't.
been made.
I think it's gonna be Jaden, but even if it's like I'm picking the Skins, not just because I'm a fan, but they're so much better than Atlanta is. Doesn't matter the quarterback. Like they just dropped 41 with Mariota. The Falcons are bad. Penix is bad. They're not gonna have McLaurin, it looks like, on Sunday either, which is kind of that worries me going forward. But at the same time, like they run the ball so well this year. I don't think McLaurin is like the difference between winning or losing against Atlanta. Gotta go with my boys, gotta go with my Manders.
Yeah, things could not be going in more different directions for these two teams after Atlanta gets shut out by a team that we thought was one of the worst in the NFL. I'm also taking Washington.
It's also a Dan Quinn revenge game. He's going back to Atlanta for the first time. I mean,
Oh,
there you think,
oh.
dude, you just see him get like knocked down on the sideline. Like you think that guy, like the toughest dude of all time, you think his players aren't going to be wanting to run through a wall for him when he goes back to his old crib and wants to flex on his ex a little? Like they're going to be hitting those Falcons so hard. Like I can't wait. I'll be watching it in a hotel room in Denver after BYU beats Colorado, and so I'm looking forward to that experience.
All these points keep pointing that I should pick Washington.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I am
Don't do
going
it.
to pick the Atlanta Falcons to
Oh,
bounce
I
back and
hate
get a close
you.
win this week because it's a gut thing. This is purely a gut
Yep.
pick.
Oh,
I get one of these
disgusting.
weird picks every year, and this was my first weird pick of the year. I'm going to take the
Oh,
Falcons. I just don't think they play that bad again. They could. I mean, I could be eating a ton of crow on Sunday morning, but I'm going to pick Atlanta in a close game. There's no way Atlanta blows out Washington, but I think they find a way in a close game.
Well,
I'll forgive
so
you
that,
when it's over. I understand you've been led astray in there, but you know what? This is This is sad for me, man.
Washington is going to get some Survivor League picks, but if you haven't picked Buffalo yet this year,
Oof.
this is your opportunity. Maybe the best team in the NFL versus maybe the worst team in the NFL. There is a chance that it could be New Orleans, but it is unethical for us to pick anything other than Buffalo.
Well, Josh Allen's thrown one interception since he got engaged to Haley Steinfeld, has thrown zero since getting married. I would expect that trend to continue. Buffalo wins big.
I mean, Josh Allen's the best player in the NFL by far. What he means to the team, what he does, just I mean, you could probably find a better like Brandon Aubrey is actually probably the best player in the NFL if we're really thinking about it. But like it's Josh Allen, you know what I mean? Also, the line on this game is crazy. Buffalo's a 16-point favorite. How often do you see a 16-point favorite in the NFL? Like, I
I,
mean,
I think our
that's
largest
absurd.
this year was 11 and a half with Baltimore over
So far.
Cleveland. I think
Yeah.
that was the largest up to this point. So that
16
another
points,
five
dude.
point jump is crazy.
That's absurd. Yeah, it's the Bills and it's not even close.
One team who beat the Packers against one team who lost to the Packers. It's Cleveland at Detroit.
It's
Yeah,
not the
and
way
that's
you'd think that would
not the
go.
way you think at all. Lions have figured some things out, even with how good this Cleveland defense is. Detroit should do to Cleveland what the Packers should have done a week ago. I'm taking Detroit.
Yeah, I'm going to take Detroit. And Detroit is one of those teams, especially last year, you would see them run up the score on bad teams. And Cleveland's defense does play, but I think this might be a bigger win than, you know, Cleveland's looking hot after getting that weird upset win. And, the defense is good, but I think Detroit can take care of business here.
I'm picking Detroit, and it's worth mentioning that everybody always calls Jared Goff like the dome merchant. Like he only plays well in domes. He's got two outdoor wins this year, including one in Baltimore, which is one of the hardest
Hmm.
primetime
Hmm.
destinations to play in. And so if you needed a sign that this might be the Lions' year, which it won't be because the Commanders will beat them in the playoffs again, of course. But if you wanted to zag and go against my logical thinking, the fact that they're winning outdoor games is a big deal, I think. But
New England and Carolina, I'm going to take Drake May and the Patriots.
oh,
I'm also taking Drake May. I don't think Carolina does that 2 weeks in a row. They clearly had some momentum from the end of that Cardinal game, but still only scored 30. Like looking, their offense did not play great. Did Carolina, and I think New England, despite that was a heartbreaking loss to Pittsburgh, had some moments they wish they could take back. I think New England comes out a little more motivated this week. I'm going to take the Patriots as well.
I'm gonna zag and do the Panthers. I just think belief is such a powerful thing, and this could be a big Chuba Hubbard game. I don't think Drake May is very good. I think he can be. Like I think they just gotta, you know, take their punches right now, kind of the way the Bills did with Josh Allen early, and hope he develops over time. But yeah, I'll go Panthers just for the sake of diversity of thought.
Jackson Dart's first start. The Chargers head to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants. Look, Jim Harbaugh's got something figured out right now. And the Giants have very little figured out, so I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, this could get very ugly very fast. There's a better chance of Jackson Dart throwing four interceptions in this game than them winning the game, and I'm going to take the Chargers.
I can't bet against Justin Herbert in his Madison Beer era because he's moving differently. It's something about. I mean, it's worth mentioning too. Travis Kelce since pop star, boom, but Josh Allen and Justin Herbert since dating and marrying pop stars. It's the other way. I mean, why would the NFL players do that?
Windy.
So yeah, I've got Chargers too.
Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. This is a very interesting game, especially the way that Philadelphia has just been eking them out at the end. I'm going to say Tampa Bay here because I think Philadelphia eventually loses one of these games.
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be this week. I think the
That's fair.
way Philadelphia play, they don't care how they beat you, which I feel like is kind of rare in today's era of style points in both the NFL and in college football. I'm going to take Philadelphia as much as I love Baker at home. I do think, again, they eke this one out. This should be a fantastic game, but I'm going Philly.
I'm taking the Bucks not just because I hate the Eagles, but because the Eagles secondary sucks. Besides Mitchell, like they've got nothing really happening on defense right now, and so I think this could be a day where Baker just lets it rip and picks them apart. And then also the Bucks beat them in the playoffs 2 years ago, and then they beat them in the regular season last year. I think the Bucks. This is like the Eagles are coming in having to think about that, and I mean I think obviously like revenge factor is definitely a big like revenge is something that can fuel you and power you to do great things. But I think Tampa's just they match up better. They're at home. I think they have the belief of knowing, okay, we kind of own these guys, and I think the wheels are kind of on the edge of not the wheels in general. Like I think the Eagles are a good team, but I think at some point they've got to stop getting away with it. Like it's one thing for Mahomes and the Chiefs to play Houdini so much
See, but
last
they
year,
did that all last year. That's when it's your year and when things are
but
just bouncing
that's
your way.
but I just think Andy Reid and Sirianni are on two different levels, and I think Mahomes and Hurts are on two different levels. Like I think I don't know. I'm not the something smells funny with the Eagles. I just think Baker's gonna have a day, and that's gonna be that. So I'm taking the Bucks.
Yeah, yeah. In the preseason, even I said that if there was any team, even in the playoffs, that I think could have a chance of taking down the Eagles, my pick was Tampa Bay, just because they have the defense that knows how to shut down the exact static version of this Eagles offense. That no matter who the coordinator is, it's the Jalen Hurts offense. So
And you got to
I
remember
get
too, the NFC East hasn't had a repeat champion in over 20 years, which would mean that the Eagles aren't going to win the NFC East this year, and it'll be the Commanders' year because the Giants and Cowboys are clueless. With that being said, for that to happen, the Eagles have to lose a couple games, and this would be one of those games, I think. So I'm holding on to my history to as hope. So
Has there ever been a larger spread between two 0-3 teams? Houston is a 7.5 point favorite against Tennessee. Texans have got to win. Like, right? Like Houston can't be 0-4. It wouldn't have surprised us to say Tennessee was 0-4 with a rookie quarterback and a coach that doesn't know what he's doing. But yeah, I'm going to take the Texans. Hopefully, this gets things right for them because I do like D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud a lot, and I want to see those two succeed specifically.
But it turns out when you have the 32nd best offensive line in football,
Oof.
there is a certain ceiling to your football team, even with good everywhere else. I
why did
take
they trade
Houston, but I
Tunsil?
wouldn't I
Like
wouldn't be sold if that.
so dumb.
Are you complaining? Was that
No, no, I love it. I'm thrilled, man. But I'm just like, I was when they traded him to us, I was like, what's the catch? You know, like I'm happy we got a franchise left tackle now, but like, what's the catch? But now I'm like, oh, they're just dumb. Like, it's just the humidity's going right to their head in Houston. I can say that because my parents live there. Nice place, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
now the
think
tuxedos seem a little left up.
yeah,
It made whatever, but man,
that's such a great pull. I'm gonna go with the Texans, but I think it's a trickier game. I think the Titans are pesky. I think their roster is better than people think. I think Cam Ward is going to get better. I'm a big Cam Ward believer. I think he's going to get better every week. I just that 7.5 spread seems too high. You know, like this could be like a 4 point win.
yeah,
I bet the Texans win like 18-14 or something funky.
that's a good call.
Thank you.
Next up, Rams and the undefeated Indianapolis Colts, almost the undefeated Rams. Man, that was one of the funkier bounces of the ball on Sunday. I'm gonna take the Rams here.
I'm also going Rams, and not as any disrespect to the Colts. I think this is a chance for a really good game, but at some point, Indy is going to lose. For as fun as they've been the first 3 weeks, like I don't know that this is still a team that we can say, oh, they're a Super Bowl contender. Now they go into LA and beat the Rams. Maybe we can start having a little bit more of that conversation of them being atop the AFC period. But where they play in a weak division, this is a game they can kind of afford to lose if that makes any sense. And the Rams play in a wonky division where they need wins. So I think the Rams bounce back.
Lou
Yeah, the
Anarumo
Rams.
has been holding this defense together, but it's still coalescing and it's still figuring out. And the last time we played Stafford and McVay did not go as well for him. So
Yeah, the Rams need this win more than the Colts do because if the Colts are 3-1, people still think the Colts are this awesome story. And if the Rams are 2-2, things get weird. And I mean, as much as I love the "This Is Our Colts" guy, you've seen those songs, right? Have you
oh
seen
yeah.
that? I want him to win every week because I just think he's so funny. I don't see it this week. I think Puka and company take care of business.
Jacksonville makes the trip out to the Bay Area to take on the Niners, who might be getting Brock Purdy back. Almost apparently got him back last week. I'm going to take the Niners. I think Jacksonville still just figure, even with the injuries and some of the other things San Francisco's dealing with, the ball's kind of bouncing their way early in the season. I think Jacksonville, despite being 2-1 and looked better than they do a year ago, still have a few things to figure out with this new staff. So I'm going to take the Niners.
Really could have been 3-0. Like I
Yeah.
talked about it last week, but at the end of that Bengals game was really funky and
Yeah, it was weird.
Travis Hunter, I mean, he's not really really good on at DB yet, but he did not commit pass interference on the play that gave that drive to the Bengals. And so Yeah, Jacksonville's still getting a hold of things, and I'm going to take San Francisco. But Jacksonville, that close to being 3-0, and in a division where the Texans are 0-3 on the other side, it's not nothing.
I'm gonna zag again just because
Do it.
I think it's a great bit to believe in the Jaguars for no reason. It's just such a funny franchise. Like, why does Jacksonville have a team? Why is their mascot so freaky looking? Like, I'm gonna take the Jags just out of solely for the meme. I have to have a meme pick, and I believe in the Jags.
Been rewatching The Good Place, and that might be the best bit in the whole entire show. How much Jason
Fantastic.
Mendoza, just the fact that he's from Jacksonville is a great bit, but then all the Jaguars references, like when the fact that they made the real-time joke that when they traded for Nick Foles, like, and they tell him in the afterlife, your
Yeah.
team just got Nick Foles, and the joke is, we're going to win the Super Bowl. You know, just that's a very, that as far as sports and sitcoms coming together, that's
Yes,
near the
100%.
top.
And
They
I think
somehow,
too I've been impressed by the Niners, but I feel like I don't think the Niners are a 4-0 team. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like at some point they have to lose one, and that AFC South is so wide open. Like I think the Texans have to be out of the running now. Like it's literally just the Colts and the Jaguars now. And so I think at some point the Jaguars have to get one of these wins that really puts them in that conversation. Like we can't let Daniel Jones win the division, right? Like I think he's a cool story and I like the guy now that he's not a Giant, but like he's won me 3 games in fantasy now, which I'm grateful for. But like it's all about the Jags, dude. It's all about the Union Jags.
talk about San Francisco doesn't look like an 0 or a 4-0 team. Houston shouldn't be an 0-4 team, but either the Chiefs or the Ravens are going to be 1-3 when Sunday has concluded. And I think it's going to be the Ravens. I think something got broken somewhere along the way. Kansas City can figure it out. And I don't, I mean, Baltimore, the schedule's been tough, and so they still go to the playoffs. But this was a season that Tanner and I both picked them to be in the Super Bowl, and it does not seem like it's going that way.
They've lost to two really good teams, albeit in collapsing fashion. They've been awful in the fourth quarter of both of those games, which is not a good sign
And
for things.
other than being really good in the fourth quarter against the Browns, that was a closer game than you give it credit for.
I'm also going to take Kansas City here. This is again one of my gut check type things. I think this is just the type of game that Kansas City wins. Finds if it's close, especially Kansas City's going to find a way to win the game. Baltimore's got to prove that they can close some things out, and I don't know what's going to happen this week. Still think like it won't mean. Well, that division is also still questionable enough with the Joe Burrow injury and the
Oh yeah.
Rodgers fit. Like Baltimore could start 1-3 and still be okay down the stretch, right? The way the
Yeah.
schedule shakes out for them, but I'm going to take Kansas City as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Kansas City. I just feel like Baltimore's in this weird place where like on paper they're among the best 2 or 3 teams in the NFL. Like they're so good. That Buffalo game week 1, it was like, okay, no one's going to catch the Ravens. And the thing with the Ravens is they keep beating themselves. Like Derrick Henry has cost them 2 losses. And I feel like mentally that's a hard thing to shake. Like I feel like you play conservative and you play weird when you think that you're the reason you're losing games. And I think their red zone offense is really weird. Like, why are they not using Derrick Henry on the goal line? Like, what is it's just
Well,
it's
they are. He's throwing balls.
I know, but like it's just what are we doing here? Like you have the NFL cheat code at running back on paper, and you're not like I just the Ravens confuse me. I feel like this could be the last ride for Harbaugh, and
Oof.
rightfully so because the mistakes are piling up. Like the Ravens every year have like 2 or 3 of these games where coaching loses them the game, and it's like if I was like a Cliff Kingsbury or another like hotshot OC looking for a head coaching gig after this year, the Ravens look like an awesome place to start fresh and have a situation where you could go to the Super Bowl year 1. I mean, I'm hoping Cliff Kingsbury stays. I know Tanner probably doesn't want the PTSD of seeing him as a head coach somewhere, and the Cardinals are paying his salary for 2 more years, so it doesn't really make sense to leave just yet when you could be making some free money there. But like, I think that's going to be an awesome head coach opening after the season but because they're going to lose a game like this and keep losing, and so I'm taking Kansas City.
This one's always it's always weird when these two teams, but like I just have the weirdest memories of Bears Raiders, and we're getting that this week. Chicago looked really good last week. Keep in mind that was against a Dallas defense that I think Bear Bachmeier would have a field day against.
Dude, Bear would be going
At
450.
18, is Bear turned 19 yet?
He's 19,
He
yeah.
is 19. Okay. I couldn't remember if he had turned 19 yet. Against a Raider team that did not look good defensively a week ago either, against as we mentioned, a backup quarterback. I'm going to take the Raiders bouncing back. I think them getting to 2-2 just makes sense the way Pete Carroll's got things going right now. I'm kind of playing the numbers game there, and I'm going to go with Vegas. I don't think Caleb Williams has back-to-back as good of games. I think he plays well. I don't think he plays quite as well as he did against Dallas.
Yeah, I'm taking the Raiders too because I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment. Ben Johnson isn't here yet. That was just the Dallas defense that is truly awful, and I'm going to take the Raiders.
I'm taking the Raiders because sometimes with these like weird toss-up games, I think who's the better coach? Like who's gonna win the coaching battle? And Pete Carroll has been around the block, and I think Ben Johnson is can find himself enslaved by emotion. I think that was part of what happened in the playoff loss to the Manders last year, where like Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging 12 yards a carry, but you're trying to throw the ball to prove a point, and it's like if you had just kept running the ball, you would have won, and they didn't. Like I feel like he coaches with his emotions a little too he flirts with disaster emotionally when he's coaching. And I just think Pete Carroll at this point, like I think Pete Carroll knows he's not going to the Super Bowl again. This is like his last ride, and he can kind of be realistic and even keeled with some of these matchups. And so I think Pete Carroll's going to coach circles around Ben Johnson this week, and the Raiders are going to win. And everyone's going to start going back at it with the Tom Brady thing, where oh we called a Bears game and now he's the Raiders won. Like what are we doing here? And at that point, it's like yeah, the Raiders are the better team. You have the better coach, and Tom Brady is most definitely helping you cheat.
Yeah. So yeah,
More than one thing could be true.
Yep.
Speaking of that Dallas defense, going up against Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers that had a rough Sunday. So Green Bay will be looking to get back on track, and I'm going to take the Packers.
Yeah, this comes at a really good time, right? That could be an emotionally devastating. We lost to the Browns, right, after looking like the best team in football the first couple weeks. And the fact that you get to go against this Dallas group, Jordan Love should have a heyday. Micah Parsons should have a heyday. Green Bay should win. I take the over easily on this too.
I love that Dallas is a punchline again. I love that they're the get right team. I love that they suck. I hate them so much. I hate everything they're about. I want nothing more than misery and pain for their fan base. But Green Bay, please just get the job done. Don't Browns it again. Please just beat the Cowboys, pound them into the dirt, make these late season games against the Commanders not matter because Dallas is tanking. Like just step on their throats, please. I beg of you. Jordan Love, you're an Aggie. You did this to BYU in 2018, where you just ripped their soul out from them and got Tanner Mangum to end his career prematurely. Like, do it to Dak. Do it to the Packers. Just ruin this. I mean, do it to the Cowboys. Ruin this team, please. I beg of you.
Jets head to Miami. It's another 2-0-3 teams. This one is a much shorter spread, just 2.5 points for Miami. I'm going to take the Jets. I think Miami had their chance a week ago. Miami didn't play horrible against Buffalo last Thursday, even with the long bye for them, the mini bye, if you will, going from a Thursday to a Monday. I'm going to take the Jets. I think the Jets are just barely good enough defensively that it makes a difference in this game.
Monday night doubleheader and just not exciting games. If you
No.
are on the East Coast, you might get an early night's sleep here. I think I'm taking the Jets also. I thought that I believed in the Dolphins, and they did show a little bit more than we were expecting, than a lot of people were expecting against Buffalo, but still didn't get the win. And the Jets do have some good vibes coming off, Aaron Glenn looking cool. It was another funky end of the game scenario that kept them from getting their first win. I'm taking the Jets.
Zach Wilson revenge game. If Tua gets hurt,
Put in
old
number 0.
old Zachy boy, number 0 is going to come in and slice and dice the Jets. So I'm take the Dolphins because it's hilarious at this
Can
point.
you imagine what Twitter would be like that night
Oh my
if that
God.
happened? Like,
They probably
He
would think that Braxton Berrios is throwing passes, just a skinny white boy wearing 0. What is
That's so
which
good.
is so ironic given that Braxton and Zach were buddies and then suddenly weren't. Like that
Well,
was
Zach's had a couple guys that he was buddies with and then suddenly wasn't.
really? Are there
It
stories
might have been
behind that?
another
Like a wide receiver or
slot receiver with I don't know, man. I don't know. That's
oh.
if I had a nickel for every time an abrupt ending friendship.
With another
Yeah,
white
I'll take
receiver.
the Jet. I'll take the Jets. I think McDaniel's getting fired. It's going to happen eventually, and losing the Jets is probably the straw that breaks the camel's back for that one.
wait, so just to be clear, you care more about winning this potential $25 Amazon gift card and being right and taking the Jets than the memes of taking the Dolphins officially as I write things
I
down?
already took the Jags. I want that gift card, man.
All right, all right.
I'm a journalist. I'm not making money. I need gift cards.
Well,
Second Monday night game,
I think we're all going to
Denver
pick the same here.
versus Cincinnati. Denver versus Jake Browning.
Oh,
Might be all that you need to know.
Denver.
Broncos country, let's
Broncos, everybody.
ride.
Like, here's the thing too. Like, Denver might be one of the better 1 and 2 teams out. Like, they lo narrowly lost to the Chargers, who are obviously very, very good, and they narrowly lost a wild game to the Colts, who have proven to be very good. Like, I think there's a little bit of panic in Broncos country that doesn't need to happen. You lose to Cincinnati on a Monday night, by all means, let all the floodgates open if you lose to Jake Browning. But at this point, there's no reason to panic. Take care of business.
Yeah, I agree. I just think the Broncos are better than 1 and 2. Like you are what your record are. You are what your record is at this point of the season. And so I think just the Broncos being 2 and 2 makes so much more sense than the Broncos being 1 and 3. And the Bengals are so miserable. Like I don't know why the Bengals aren't trading for a Kirk Cousins or a Jameis Winston. Just like you have an awesome offense. You thought your defense was better. It's probably not, but like with the Ravens slumping too, like don't let the Steelers run away with this division. Like throw your hat in the ring. Like give it a shot, you know? And so it's a bummer, especially because like Bengal fans deserve to not let this team Bengals
Mm,
fans deserve to not let Joe
mm.
Burrow be Andrew Luck 2.0, right? Like don't let this window pass you by. So it's a bummer, but yeah, the Broncos are gonna win. It's not even gonna be close. What's
The
the spread
strengths
on that? What's the spread on that game? Is that a 60
Seven and a
point spread as
half.
well? Oh, it's at Cleveland. It's at Cincinnati though, right?
It's in Denver, and it's only
Oh,
seven and a
what?
They're
half.
wearing midnight blue.
Oh yeah, that's a 20 point spread if we knew about what Midnight Blue before the odds came out. But yeah, it's gonna be Denver. Let's not even pretend here.
The strengths and weaknesses just line up so well. Denver is going to get after Jake Browning just like Brian Flores and the Vikings did. And then what Bo Nix can do, he's not looked good this season, but what he can do is slice and dice this Bengals defense that is not going to be able to get after him. And he will connect on a couple deep balls. And Denver fans will think that the narratives of him being a check down merchant are over, where, yeah, he throws it deep sometimes and he'll connect against bad defenses. And that will probably happen against Cincinnati. But doesn't make him a good and accurate deep ball thrower.
He's a Sean Payton merchant. Let's just check down merchant is probably part of that, but when he's throwing deep, it's not like he's throwing contested like wow deep balls, right? Like
Yeah.
they're scheming these guys so ridiculously open. Like I don't hate Bo Nix, but I'm ready. I'm still holding on to my receipts for Denver fans saying that he was better than Jaden Daniels last year. So I'm
Ugh,
got to
ugh.
defend my guys. That was just one of the most brain dead takes of all time. It was like when the Broncos started winning a couple games and Jaden had like the broken rib, and so like he was kind of slowing down. It was like, oh, Jaden Daniels is falling off the earth. Yeah, Bo Nix was always the better player, and it's like, all right, let's settle down, Karen. Like that's not what we're doing here.
That's given Trey Young's better than Luka Doncic vibes from
Oh my gosh.
2017. That was, oh,
Oh,
oh, yeah.
terrible.
Well, Jackson, always appreciate you, man. Talking ball, it's always a good time. And hey, good luck continuing to cover BYU this year and to your Manders moving forward. New stadium should be a lot of fun, and hoping to get Jaden back on the field soon.
Yeah, man. Always happy to come on. Love talking ball with you guys, and hope your picks do better than mine because my Jaguars pick is going to bite me.
Once
It's
again,
not too late.
Except your Falcon pick. Let's forget that one happened.
okay. Well, I probably will be eating crow Monday. Like even now, just sitting back on it, I'm like, I will probably be eating a lot of crow come Sunday, sitting there in church. But no, Jackson, we certainly appreciate you. Cole, my man, always a pleasure.
Fantastic.
It's always good. I'll see you Saturday for some JUCO top
That's right.
15 football. From hopped off the plane from Scranton, PA, the Lackawanna Eagles. So should be a lot of fun
Get on the
uh,
air.
going forward. Once again, this has been Wilkin Wiss, your home for Utah athletes in the National Football League. We break down their performances every week and always like to highlight you, the fan. Subscribe to us on YouTube.